So, Kevin, to kick this one to you, which quarterback do you have more faith in for this Rams and Buccaneers game? Tom Brady or Matt Stafford?
So when it comes to faith, strictly for the question, I'm going to say I have a lot more faith in Tom Brady. Why? Seven Super Bowl rings, greatest quarterback of all time. It's really not that difficult of a question. Now, do I think that they are going to win this game? I'm going to be bold. I'm going to go and make the prediction. The Rams will provide the upset. Here's why. I think that Matt Stafford has lost enough in his career. Tom Brady has won enough in his career, and it's about time for a fucking change. No, like I'm totally kidding, but truthfully, Matt Stafford has had a terrible narrative playing in Detroit. They haven't won a playoff game over there. Obviously, he was in the playoffs about 3 times when he was down there in Detroit, all of them in losses. Uh, Odell Beckham is probably one of the top graded, if not the top graded wide receiver thus far in the postseason. I know that we only played one game, but for him to be performing the way that he did and then get a PED test, by the way, the day after they won, a little bit questionable NFL. You guys are looking a little weird. Just because someone has a good game doesn't mean that they're taking drugs. But anyway, yeah, no, I'm actually going to take the Rams in this one. I think that Matt Stafford has served his dues, has done what he's needed to do to kind of shake that narrative. I think that he finally has a great team assembled around him. I think he's got a great head coach. I think that Odell and Cooper Kupp, Tyler Higbee, Cam Akers had an incredible game last game. And then, of course, with them getting Sony Michel and a trade with the Patriots, I think that 1-2 punch in the backfield, along with probably the league's best offense, in my opinion, outside of maybe Buffalo or Dallas, I think that they're going to give Tampa a run for their money. Tampa just has so many injuries right now. Obviously, Godwin's out. Obviously, Mike Evans is not 100%, although he did have a great game last week. He's still battling his injury. Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones Jr. are still questionable. And from what Kyle and I read before we even started recording, it kind of, to me, is leaning towards they're not going to play just because they have not been activated off of injured reserve. They are not looking to be activated anytime soon. And obviously, you need to be activated a few hours, if not a couple of days before game time to actually be eligible to play. And let's be honest, by the time this episode comes out, it's Friday. If they're not activated Friday, the game's on Sunday. I don't know if they're going to play at all because I think Bruce Arians, Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, stated that if Leonard's not 100%, they're not going to force him to come back, right?
Yeah, it's a wait and see situation with him.
So Bruce Arians is taking the cautious side because he does believe that this team has a postseason, or should I say, another Super Bowl run in them. But if I had to, like I said, if I had to put money on it, if I had to actually make an assumption and a guess, I'm going to take the Rams in an upset, and I'm going to take the Rams by about 3 points or so. I think that it's going to be a really, really close game, and I think the Bucs Super Bowl repeat run ends on Sunday.
Yeah, so I agree with the first part of your analysis. I would favor Tom Brady over Matt Stafford in regards to just having more faith in who's going to play better. And then when it comes to the overall matchup, I am going to favor the Buccaneers in this one over the Rams. And here's why. So these teams already played each other once earlier this season. And despite the fact that the Rams did win the game, I thought that Tom Brady played exceptional in that matchup earlier in the season. If memory serves me correctly, the guy threw for over 400 yards in that performance against the Rams. And the Rams have one of the top tier defenses in the NFL. That's despite the fact that they have guys like Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, Aaron Donald. I mean, these dudes are beasts in their own respective positions. And despite the fact that Tom was going up against that type of defense, I thought he played extremely well. Were there some plays left out on the field against the Rams in that matchup? Absolutely. But overall, I thought he played a pretty solid day against the Rams. And I think going into this game, I think Tom remembers that game quite well. I think he knows that there were some plays that he left out on the field in that first matchup. And I think that they're going to be able to essentially claim some sort of redemption against the Rams in this matchup in the NFC Divisional round. I think just Tom's playoff experience it just looms so large in this game. He's been here before once again. I think if I remember correctly, this is like his ninth straight divisional appearance in the playoffs, which is just absolutely ridiculous. That's another side story for another day. But just you can't deny just how valuable that playoff experience is. And especially with the Buccaneers and the amount of injuries that they've been dealing with as a unit, I think that he'll rise above the occasion and just provide Tampa with a huge performance against a really good Rams team. Now, as far as the game is concerned, I have the Buccaneers winning. Like I said, I think it's going to be very similar to what you predicted. I just have the opposite result. I do think that this is going to be like a 3 or 4 point game when it's all said and done. I think the Rams, they're going to be in it the entire way. I think Matt Stafford is going to play lights out football because I do think that that Tampa defense is suspect. And with the amount of injuries that they've had on that side of the ball, I do think that Matt Stafford, Odell Beckham Jr., Van Jefferson, these guys, and Cooper Kupp, I can't forget Cooper Kupp. God forbid I forget him. I think that they're going to be able to exploit some holes in that Tampa defense, and I think that they're going to be able to put up a decent amount of points in Tampa on the road. It's just that I think that Tom is going to be the difference maker in this game. I think he just plays lights out. I could see him throwing for 3 touchdowns in this game, potentially somewhere around 300 to 350 yards passing. And I think they're going to get decent contributions from the run game. We'll see what happens with Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. I'm a little bit more optimistic in them playing. They're still kind of up in the air as far as their status goes into that game. But if they do play, I think they will be able to provide a pretty good spark for that Buccaneers offense. If not, Giovanni Bernard and Keyshawn Vaughn are going to have to step up in a tremendous way. And they were able to last week against the Eagles, and I could see that continuing against the Rams in this matchup. I've got the Buccaneers winning this one by the score of, let's say, I'm going to say 31-27. This is going to be a very high scoring affair, but it's like I said, I think Tom is going to be the difference maker in this game. And that's why I have more faith in Tom than I do Matt Stafford. And I think that's the reason why I think the Bucs are going to win this game and advance to the NFC Championship game.